And when you get older, what are you going to remember? No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes.
We're right now in McPherson Square Park. This is actually a historical area, but it has been taken over by the drug abuse.
Crack. I use it every day.
Since the beginning of December, and it's now in November, so almost a full year.
Heroin, cocaine. They come from all over. There's needles all over the place. People call other people zombies because that's what they look like.
Mr. Trump was famous for his ironclad rule for his children. No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. He created a strong shield to protect his family. But when you look at Kensington, Philadelphia, that shield is completely absent. Here, there are no teachings at the fancy dinner table, only thousands of lives abandoned in the midst of the fentanyl storm. While the children of privilege are taught to refuse temptation, the people here turn to drugs as the only way out of extreme poverty. The greatest paradox of America lies right there. Safety is the privilege of the rich. In Kensington, they don't need more judgment. They need a chance in life they never really had. Current conditions in Kensington. When you walk through Kensington early in the morning, the first thing that hits you isn't the sound of the train overhead. It's the smell. It's the heavy mix of damp pavement, trash that never quite gets picked up, and the human scent that comes from people living outside far longer than anyone should. Under the elevated tracks, where dozens of unhoused individuals lay their heads each night, the odor becomes unavoidable. It's not a sign of neglect. It's the direct result of having nowhere else to go. No bathroom, no running water, no chance at staying clean the way most of us take for granted. Every few steps, the air shifts again. You smell clothes that never fully dry after the rain, leftover food beginning to rot in the heat, and the unmistakable traces of urine in places where people simply had no other option. This is what happens when a neighborhood becomes a shelter without walls. It's uncomfortable, it's overwhelming, and it's real. A reminder that the streets many walk past are someone else's only home. Beneath the long shadow of the train line, you see mattresses worn thin, blankets spread across cold concrete, and piles of belongings tied up in plastic bags for protection. People here wake up slowly, sometimes shivering, sometimes silent, trying to gather themselves before the day demands movement again. Some lower their heads when others pass by, not because they're invisible, but because they're ashamed of living in conditions no human being should ever face. And yet, even in this harsh environment, the smallest signs of humanity still shine through. One person offers another a bottle of water to wash their face. Someone else uses a pack of wipes to help a friend feel a little cleaner. A few gather garbage into piles, not because they have to, but because it makes the space slightly more livable for everyone. These gestures may seem small, but out here, they're everything. The last threads of dignity people fight hard to hold on to. If you were forced to live under these tracks, surrounded by these smells and struggles, how long could you hold on to your sense of dignity? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters more than you think.
Are you okay?
And if this story moved you, make sure to subscribe to US Homeless Stories so we can continue bringing these hidden realities to light. Fentanyl is swallowing Kensington alive. Fentanyl didn't begin on the streets of Kensington. It arrives through complex international supply chains, often altered and processed long before it reaches the neighborhood. By the time fentanyl reaches Philadelphia, it has been mixed, stretched, and altered countless times, making every dose unpredictable. That uncertainty alone turns each use into a dangerous gamble, especially in neighborhoods already struggling with poverty and instability. What makes fentanyl even more destructive is how its strength increases year after year. Suppliers tweak formulas to cut costs and boost profits, often creating mixtures far more potent than the people using them expect. A tiny change in the ratio can turn what once felt manageable into something overwhelming. Many individuals who never intended to use fentanyl end up trapped by it because it is cheaper, easier to find, and far more powerful than anything else on the street. Its quick, intense effect pulls people in fast. But that same intensity is what leads to sudden collapses, emergencies, and tragic outcomes. On Kensington Avenue, the impact is impossible to ignore. People use openly on sidewalks, under the elevated train tracks, and inside alleyways. For outsiders, this might seem shocking, but for local residents, it has become a daily, painful reality. Police officers often walk past without intervening, not because they don't care, but because they're overwhelmed. Their resources are stretched thin, and their priority becomes responding to calls reporting someone unresponsive. In a neighborhood facing constant emergencies, officers must focus on saving lives rather than stopping individual instances of public use. Families in the 150 row homes along Kensington Avenue hear sirens echo day and night. Shop owners sweep their storefronts each morning, hoping for a quieter day. Yet, amid the struggle, there is still hope. Volunteers handing out food, water, blankets, and naloxone create moments of dignity that remind people they matter. If you believe these stories deserve to be seen, subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories and help us continue shining light on the realities America can no longer ignore. America's forgotten struggle. Kensington Avenue is more than a picture of decline. It's a place that shows just how heavy pain, loneliness, and exhaustion can become. Kensington Avenue doesn't just look like a scene from an apocalypse movie. It feels like time itself is dragging its feet. You see people trying to stand upright with trembling legs, their bodies swaying like they're fighting invisible waves. Their eyes drift in and out of focus, caught somewhere between consciousness and escape, as if they're trying to wake from a nightmare that won't let them go. Cars roll by slowly, drivers keeping both hands tight on the wheel, not out of fear, but out of respect for lives that look like they're hanging by a thread. This is why people use the term Zombieland, but the truth is far more heartbreaking. These individuals aren't empty. They aren't gone. They're still alive, still human, still capable of feeling deeply, but trapped in a cycle they can't break alone. Some fall asleep while standing, their bodies folding in half before snapping back up. Others jolt awake and immediately search for something to numb the pain that never seems to stop. A plastic bag with two belongings, a jacket that's worn thin, a pair of shoes that barely have soles left, that becomes their entire world. Under every bridge, behind every abandoned building, there's a story no one has heard. A childhood that once had promise. A job they once showed up to every morning. A family photo tucked somewhere deep in a pocket. These stories don't disappear. They're simply buried under layers of struggle. And yet, within all this darkness, there is something quietly powerful. The instinct to survive. Even when they can't stand straight, they try. Even when their bodies sway in a fog, they hold on to the last scraps of dignity they still have. That determination, fragile as it is, makes Kensington unforgettable. What do you think drives a neighborhood into a state like this? And what kind of support do you believe could actually pull people back towards stability and hope? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if these stories resonate with you, hit subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories to follow more real, unfiltered journeys across America. The American streets we pretend not to see. Across the United States, there are streets most people pass by without a second thought, corners where life moves slower, where exhaustion sits deep in people's eyes, and where hope feels like something distant. Kensington is one of those places. Just minutes from downtown Philadelphia, where new towers rise and businesses boom. More than 60 acres of sidewalks and empty lots have turned into fragile shelters for people pushed to the margins. What makes these streets so heartbreaking isn't only what you can see, it's the quietness surrounding them. Nearly 40% of people living outdoors in major cities have no access to something as simple as a restroom or a place to clean up. In one of the wealthiest nations on Earth, the most basic human needs become daily battles. Every day, more than 200,000 students in Philadelphia walk past these blocks, carrying images that no child should be familiar with. Meanwhile, rents in 35 major US cities have surged, forcing families into overcrowded rooms, shelters, or no shelter at all. Community centers have wait lists stretching into the tens of thousands. Hospitals handle more than 110,000 mental health emergencies a year, yet too many people still fall through the cracks. But even in the darkest parts of these streets, humanity doesn't disappear. I've seen volunteers kneel to offer warm meals, strangers give away their only blanket, and neighbors with nothing still share what little they have. These moments prove that compassion survives where systems fail. These streets aren't invisible. They're a mirror, reflecting who we are and who we choose to be. If these stories matter to you, if you believe people deserve to be seen, subscribe to US Homeless Stories so we can continue shining a light on the truths America avoids. Root causes. Kensington didn't fall apart because of one single issue. It's the result of poverty, untreated illness, physical pain, drug availability, and years of being ignored. When the cost of rent pushes past $200 a month and wages barely rise at all, people who were already struggling start slipping fast. With only a small number of affordable homes available, losing a job, getting sick, or facing a family breakdown is often enough to push someone onto the streets. A lot of individuals here are living with heavy mental health burdens that never got the care they needed: depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder, extreme anxiety. Philadelphia's clinics are overwhelmed. Wait lists stretch for months, and long-term treatment is almost impossible to access. Many people don't wake up choosing addiction. They wake up trying to quiet a mind that won't stop racing. Add chronic physical pain, old injuries, untreated conditions, years of physical labor, and drugs become a quick way to feel something close to relief, even for a moment. Fentanyl took advantage of this pain. Some people first used prescription pain pills, some turned to street drugs after trauma, and others followed friends because it felt like the only escape they had left. Once fentanyl flooded the streets, the grip tightened. Addiction became harder to break, and daily survival became hellishly unpredictable. It's easy for society to say people don't want to work, but reality is far more complicated. Many can't work. Addiction, sickness, psychological battles, and the chaos of homelessness make stable employment nearly impossible. When every day is about finding warmth, safety, or a meal, job applications don't come first. The most painful root cause: years of neglect. Kensington wasn't supported, it was forgotten. And forgotten communities eventually fall apart. If this matters to you, I hope you'll subscribe to US Homeless Stories so we can keep shining light on the truths most people never see. What do you think pushes people into homelessness the most? Pain, mental illness, drugs, or economic pressure? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice helps this story stay alive. Government responses and shortcomings. Walking through Kensington, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The government has grown comfortable leaving people to suffer right out in the open. Philadelphia spends over $500 million on social services, yet the streets show tents, cold bodies, and people battling addiction with almost no real help. Encampment sweeps twice a month don't solve anything. They just push people out of sight for a moment. Federally, the failure is just as clear. The country runs 1,000+ homelessness programs, but funding meant for housing and treatment gets trapped in slow bureaucracy. Clinics in Kensington, handling 4,500 visits every quarter, wait for support that rarely arrives, while people detox on sidewalks because no system catches them in time. Local enforcement can't fill the gaps. Police patrol 50 square miles a day, but they're forced to respond to overdoses and mental health crises far beyond their training. Real solutions, treatment access, mental health care, and stable housing remain stalled behind political hesitation and endless planning. The most troubling part is how normal this neglect has become. Policymakers talk and delay while people fight for their lives only miles away. Instead of urgency, there's distance. Instead of action, paperwork. The system hasn't just failed, it's learned to live with failing. From where I stand, this crisis is too deep for any single agency to fix. Real change demands shared responsibility, leaders willing to act, communities demanding better, and people like you refusing to look away. If these truths matter to you, take a moment to subscribe to US Homeless Stories. Your support helps keep these realities visible and pushes for the accountability America desperately needs. Hope returns to the streets. Kensington's recovery doesn't come in big headlines or dramatic rescues. It comes quietly, person to person, moment to moment, through the hands of people who refuse to give up on a place the world often writes off. At the Riverview Wellness Village, the glow from the lobby windows stretches onto the sidewalk at night, a small reminder that help exists, even when everything else feels lost. Inside, 200 recovery beds offer not just shelter, but the first full night of sleep some people have had in months. Counselors sit with residents long after their shift ends, helping them rebuild routines, reconnect with family, and relearn the rhythm of normal life. It's slow, it's fragile, but it's real. Across the neighborhood, the Kensington Wellness Court steers hundreds away from jail and into programs where people are finally treated like human beings, not statistics. Partnerships among 25 local clinics allow someone to access treatment, wound care, and mental health support without being turned away or told to come back later. These small victories matter more than most people ever see. On the street level, recovery looks even more raw. Prevention Point's mobile vans weave through the blocks, offering care to more than 8,000 people a month, people who would otherwise suffer alone. In the parks, faith-based groups hold circles where strangers sit together in folding chairs, sharing stories that would break most hearts. And the 6 acres of community gardens, blooming against all odds, prove that life can grow even in places scarred by years of hardship. Meanwhile, old warehouses, once symbols of collapse, are being rebuilt into training centers across 40 acres, giving 2,500 young people a chance to step into futures bigger than their surroundings. In a neighborhood shaped by struggle, these sparks of hope are not small, they're everything. Kensington's journey reminds us that change begins with compassion, multiplied over time. What do you think is the most important step a community should take to help people rebuild their lives? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if these stories matter to you, subscribe to US Homeless Stories. Your support helps us keep shining light on the places America forgets. Personal reflections and calls to action. Walking through Kensington changes something inside you. The streets carry a quiet heaviness, brick buildings worn by decades, community gardens fighting to survive, and libraries offering warmth to over 1,000 visitors each week. Just outside their doors, people rest on cold concrete, wrapped in thin blankets against wind that cuts sharply through the avenues. Nothing here is loud or sensational. It's the silent weight of everyday struggle that lingers with you long after you step away. When you look closely, darker truths reveal themselves in moments most people never notice. The exhaustion in someone's shoulders. The way strangers share scraps of food because scarcity leaves them no other choice. The unspoken understanding in the eyes of those gathering beneath the elevated tracks for a small sense of safety. These scenes expose a side of America that doesn't appear in polished headlines, corners where people fight not just poverty, but the slow erosion of their dignity. What stays with you is how humanity refuses to disappear. Even with so little, people still try to help each other. A shared blanket, a warm drink, a lookout standing nearby so others can sleep without fear. These small acts prove that resilience doesn't come from comfort. It grows from refusing to let hardship harden the heart or silence compassion. Being here forces difficult reflections. You begin questioning how many communities across the country hide similar struggles behind busy streets, bright storefronts, or rising developments. You realize that solutions cannot come from policy alone. They require people willing to acknowledge suffering instead of walking past it. Real change begins the moment we stop treating these lives as background scenery and start recognizing our shared responsibility. And if you believe these realities deserve to be seen and these voices deserve to be heard, subscribe to US Homeless Stories. Together, we can shine light into the corners America too often forgets and push for change grounded in empathy, dignity, and truth.
Bless you.